While being non-violent, even in the face of huge state and police violence, can be a powerful and commendable tactic. To make a statement claiming the whole struggle as pacifist is naive and is playing right into the hands of the authorities. It leaves the struggle open for the state to use its common tactic of dividing people by criminalising those who use methods which are deemed as violent, and it justifies the state in persecuting those individuals. Once a struggle is appropriated like this, it can very easily be manipulated by the state and become lost in internal arguing, and also very open to attack from the outside, thus being rendered ineffective and ready to accept previously unacceptable compromises. We do not want to become like the trade unions now, who rather than fighting against the unjust system have ended up as institutions that support it.
The fact that we are not so predictable and not so calm as some people that try to claim this movement as not violent would want us to be is to our advantage, and that actually makes this project more and more expensive and more likely to collapse. So if we wouldn't have people that are fighting on the barricades, if we wouldn't have people that are trying to get the machines, if they didn't have to employ thousands of policemen, helicopters, and with all their toys, if we wouldn't have resistance that it's making enough threat for them to use it, then I don't think we would be here. There is a lot of myths around pacifism, and people don't realize that the very position they are in is either created by violence or relying on it. There is always someone on the other end that is paying our bills. Our violence that manifests itself in a form of direct action, you can see as a reaction to a violence that exists and affects us on so many different levels. It appears here in a direct form of police aggression, but it also exists in the way that our lives are being controlled, and in the way that the state and the business is imposing their projects on us.
And it exists everywhere, and in the West we are completely part of that system, and it's ridiculous to say that you're non-violent because we just are.
Even within anarchist communities, values such as machoism continue and can even be glorified. Virtues associated with so-called masculinity, like heroism, keeping a brave face, competitiveness, and repression or denial of fear, often receive more overt acclaim than those that show more sensitivity, like knowing when to step back to take care of the self and others, or being sensitive to those around.
I don't think that people should always be violent at all, but I think you need a diversity of tactics. You need both, and people do what they can, and to say that people shouldn't be violent against the police is completely stupid. The police use more violence than we can ever use, even if we wanted to. The police are the most violent people I've ever met, and just because they're backed by the state, it makes it alright, and I just don't buy into that. It only works because people believe that they need the police and that the police need this power, and that they sometimes have to use violence to stop other people being violent, but actually it's just not true. I don't believe that the state is always right, and I don't believe that the state should have that amount of power, and I definitely don't believe that the police should have that amount of power to be able to shoot people with explosive grenades.
It's not easy to contain anger when everything around is being destroyed, claimed, parceled and distributed amongst the powerful, and we don't really want to contain that anger. Actually, for some of us here, life becomes defined by struggle, and the moments of not kneeling down is the moment we break out of the control that this system is trying to have us under. And in the act of revolutionary practice, we can truly feel free.
Violence isn't necessarily a reaction to the police. It's a tactic, and it's a way of making them leave the land that we live on, and it's a way of protecting where we are now and where we want to stay.
And this place become something more than just like a peaceful village life to defend. It become a place of converging different ways that we want to live our life, but the ways that we have in control. Nobody from outside has a decisive way about it.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I like to say hello to my mom.
Eh bien, c'est pas les mêmes gens, ils ont pas souvent pas le même mode de vie parce qu'à la CIPA il y a beaucoup d'agriculteurs, habitants, et sur la ZAD, bon, c'est des gens qui sont venus occuper. C'est très important que les deux formes de lutte se rejoignent, quoi, parce que c'est pour le même objectif, et là on voit qu'il y a une vraie solidarité.
Le but c'était de nous séparer des jeunes, et il s'est produit l'inverse.
Et depuis le 17 novembre en particulier, ça a permis de cristalliser ça encore mieux.
On vient pour soutenir tout ce mouvement, une lutte anticapitaliste, et on veut qu'on vive le plus proche de la nature. Et voilà, pour nous c'est une cause importante et qu'il faut défendre.